Bear down, Chicago Bears. We've got an interesting day ahead of us. The question that we're going to be asking at this point is, can Justin Fields lead the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl? Now, you might be asking yourself, or you might be saying to yourself, I think that he can because he's shown flashes of brilliance, he's shown flashes of greatness, but he's also made some mistakes. But I think that he can learn, or maybe he's going to get better. Or you might be saying to yourself, I think we can move on to Caleb Williams because I think he's really good. Or whatever it is that you say, however it is that you say it to yourself. In my mind, just imagine the way that you say things when you say things that to me sound a little bit crazy. But the point to it all is this: Justin Fields has a weird sort of scenario happening, something that we did not expect to see, or at least we didn't expect to have information that would be positive or revealing in any way. But we did get that, and I'm going to reveal it to you now. However, before we do, if you like the content, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We had about 8,000 views yesterday and today, or yesterday and the day before. We only have about 1.2 thousand subscribers. Like to get up to 5,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. I appreciate each and every one of you for your support, and thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. That helps push me up in the algorithm. And the one thing that the one thing that YouTube loves is their algorithm and their like button. So thank you so much for tuning in. The number one thing, though, is this right here. Matt Eberflus defended Justin Fields in Bears OC interviews. Now, should be noted that the Bears generally were just looking for an OC. Most of the offensive coordinators, several who have spoken to Albert Greer, had said that they were interested and intrigued in the fact that they could be working with Caleb Williams. However, it was revealed to Albert Greer that Breer said that he heard from candidates that the appeal of coaching USC quarterback Caleb Williams attracted them to the job. But head coach Matt Eberflus also praised Justin Fields during the process. Of course, the chance potentially to coach USC's Caleb Williams was something mentioned to me as a drawing card by candidates for the job, though Eberflus did defend Justin Fields in the interviews, as I understand it. Given Waldron ultimately got the job, his experience has shown he can design an offense around different quarterbacks. So whether Chicago winds up sticking with Fields or drafting Williams, Waldron will be ready. So I think that it's important at this point to at least consider that the decision has not been made, but that there's a very serious discussion going on right now that Justin Fields might just be the guy to take the Bears into the 2024 season. And I think that's a great thing. I don't think that the Bears, I think the Bears are going to be a much improved team by the time the draft is done, by the time free agency is over, by the time we get to training camps. I really feel like the Bears are going to be a much improved team. I think that one of the things that we missed out on was preparation. And I feel like the people that they're bringing in right now like to prep their teams. They like to be prepared for all contingencies. I think that we're looking at potentially Chris Harris as the defensive coordinator, potentially. We know we've got Shane Waldron. We don't have a quarterback coach, but we're looking to see when an announcement is going to be made. Now, of course, anybody here in Chicago is throwing their hat in the ring for Chase Daniel, but Shane Waldron is the man who ultimately is going to decide who he wants on his staff. Eberflus would have to give the okay, and of course, Ryan Poles would have to negotiate terms of the deal. But it looks like we'll have some clarity on that soon. But the thing is, people will be ready for this season. And one thing that the Bears were not was ready for this past season to start. They did not look prepared against Green Bay in the first game. They did not look prepared in the first 3 or 4 games. And it did not look good at all. Absolutely a travesty, not what you would expect from Chicago. So that's the thing. We want to have a team that's prepared. Moving on to the next article, though. The Bears are now interviewing the Tennessee Titans' Terrell Williams for defensive coordinator. So it looks like there is another person, along with Chris Harris, that they are reviewing, going through the process right now. They are interviewing assistant head coach and defensive line coach Terrell Williams for the defensive coordinator vacancy. And look, I would love to see a defensive line coach to be the guy for the Chicago Bears as their defensive coordinator. Now, do I have a reason for that? Not really. It doesn't matter what your position is. It matters whether you can do the job. But I think that one of the weakest positions that would require the most focus for the Bears going into next season is that defensive line. Because let's face it, outside of Montez Sweat, we had a problem with pressure. Towards the end of the season, Gervon Dexter did a very decent job. And I want to say DeMarcus Walker was doing a pretty decent job. Yannick Ngakoue was coming along towards the end of the season. So there were some positives that we were taking out of it. There were some positives that we were seeing, but it wasn't what we really wanted. We didn't get that suffocating sort of pass rush. We didn't get that feeling that they were going to take the quarterback down. Now, we did have a couple of quarterbacks who were very quick in their decision making, making it a little bit more difficult. But the other thing to that is that part of that is preparedness. When you collapse the pocket and you push somebody up, there shouldn't be a pocket. And our defensive tackles were not doing a good enough job at creating the collapse of that pocket on the front side, and that ended up costing. Let's just say that we could have been a lot better than we were, and I think that a defensive line coach would probably enhance that tremendously, or at least he would recognize that that has to be a predominant focus for this defense, getting to the quarterback. And by the way, let's not forget that this was the number one rush defense in all of football last year. I think they'll still be really good no matter what happens going forward. But the important thing would be that this team, by the way, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Helps push me up in the algorithm, and I appreciate that. But I think that we're probably still going to be the number one rush defense. TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edwards, these guys, they're going after the ball, doing a great job filling gaps. But I would like to see something a little bit more, and it should be focused around the defensive line. So I'll leave that there, and we'll move on to the next topic because we want to get to can Justin Fields take the Bears to the Super Bowl? And we had a sidetrack thing here. Ex-Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy to interview with Raiders, a potential landing spot for Justin Fields. Guys, there is no way, I'm telling you right now, Justin Fields will not go to the Raiders if Luke Getsy is the coach. Because Justin Fields has been respectful of his position and because he's been respectful of the people around him, he will not say it. But there is absolutely no way Justin Fields is looking to continue playing for Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy does not understand him, does not understand his offensive scheme. He doesn't understand or design plays around his skill set. He doesn't adapt to the game as it comes. There's no way that this is going to happen. But Luke Getsy is going to interview for that job. And by the way, Luke Getsy did a decent job, I suppose, with the run game. You know, it's absolutely crazy. And to be fair here, guys, I'm not worried about my credibility with people who are just going to whine about Justin Fields or cry about Justin Fields anyway. I told you yesterday and the day before, this Chicago team was 5 very close losses away from 5 wins that would have made them a 12-5 team. And just to give everybody a little bit of clarification, everybody currently in the Final Four of the playoffs right now. The Detroit Lions are 12-5. And I think everybody is basically 12-5, 13-4, or 11-6. Like, that was the sweet spot, and this could have been something completely different. The fact that it wasn't, that comes down to coaching. That doesn't always come down to because I don't like this one guy who throws the ball. It's not how it works. So I appreciate the fact that you don't like it, but I don't care because I understand that I'm right. So, but let's move on to the next article. And part of this is the schedule for the Bears next year. So I wanted to take a moment to point this out. The Arizona Cardinals are a game in Glendale, Arizona, and the Arizona Cardinals, one of the worst teams in the league, should be an easy win for this. And I would say to myself that, I think that this is a very good schedule to start off this season. Now, you get a win at Arizona, then you come back, and remember, we played a very good game and beat Detroit and probably showed up as a team better than Detroit towards the end of the season. Look, we gave up, I want to say, 14, 17 unanswered points in the first game, but we were clearly a superior foe for 3.5 quarters, if anything, versus the Detroit Lions before giving up 17 points in 4 minutes and 54 seconds. It's a freak occurrence that should not have happened, but it did. So I think that we have the Detroit Lions number. I think that 17-9 versus the Green Bay Packers, giving 2 games to be prepared, gives us an opportunity to go in and beat the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. This is a 4-0 team at this point. Excuse me. Potentially a 4-0 team. Then you go at the Rams and then Seattle Seahawks, rebuilding teams, and then Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a team that legitimately could be 6-1, 5-2 going into the first half of the season. So and this is before, by the way, I will point out, this is a favorable schedule to start off the season. Soldier Field, Soldier Field, Soldier Field. We got 6 straight games at Soldier Field in the first 7 games. Then going to go to Ford Field to take on Detroit again, Green Bay, Lambeau, Houston, Texas, the Indianapolis Colts. Then we're going to Minnesota and then San Francisco. Then we're coming back home for the Carolina Panthers and New England Patriots. Guys, this is probably the most favorable schedule the Bears have had in a very long time. Look at what is going on over here on this schedule. So you have a lot of opportunity here to really show out, to really show out what this team is capable of or what this team can do. So I would venture to say that the Chicago Bears are probably in a really, really good position right now. So I'm in here every day schooling him. Oh my God. All right, guys, listen, for anybody when you're 13 years old, you stop saying schooling. So Larry, enjoy whatever it is you think you're doing. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in and schooling me every day. That's awesome. So anyway, that's it for the news. Let's go look at free agency right now and see what's going on in the free agency market. Now, the talk again has turned to Mike Evans. Is he a fit for the Bears? In the eyes of one NFL pundit, Tampa Bay Buccaneers free agent Mike Evans here's an early outlook on the season. The Bears will use the number 1 pick on a new quarterback and invest in that quarterback. Now, I don't know that to be the case, but I do know that Mike Evans being available would be something fantastic for the team and would pair nicely with DJ Moore in this offense. And if not, then there are 3 potential receivers that we would have. That is a big or bold prediction. Playmakers like Mike Evans don't tend to hit free agency, and when they've been on with one team as long as Evans has been with the Buccaneers, the expectation that such a player actually makes it onto the open market tends to be low. But with Evans at this particular time, that might not be the case. One of the reasons for this, by the way, is a franchise tag. So one reason players like Mike Evans don't make it to free agency is the franchise tag. In most off seasons, I think the Bucs would gladly tag Evans and keep him around for at least another year. But with all-pro safety Antoine Winfield, Pro Bowl linebacker Devin White, and quarterback Baker Mayfield also set to hit free agency, giving Evans the franchise tag might not be as easy of a decision as we might otherwise think. So there are potentially okay. Shh. Larry, you're making it awkward for everybody. So you got 5 minutes. But with all pros, in other words, there is a non-zero chance that Evans makes it to free agency. So the Mike Evans out here in the free agency landscape does change the dynamic for a lot of different teams, especially for a team that's desperate to find the answers at the wide receiver position. So Now we have Mike Evans showing back up on the radar for what could be an incredible get for the Chicago Bears. And here's a little breakdown of what you can expect and see from Mike Evans coming out here making big catch after big catch after big catch. This is the kind of guy that you're looking for on your team that can make those kind of plays. And look, these are the plays that Darnell Mooney dropped. These are the plays that Robert Tonyan dropped. These are the plays that Tyler Scott didn't make. This is a game changer in itself to help define the new Chicago Bears offense going forward. Also, it looks like there's somebody who has, and this is Eric Lambert, he's perfectly identified a free agent for Shane Waldron's new offense. And by the way, that is Tyler Biadasz from the Dallas Chicago. Oh my God, from the Dallas Cowboys. The 26-year-old pivot became a starter as a rookie during the following 3 seasons. Biadasz started all but 2 games. He became a Pro Bowler in 2022. On the other side of the equation, the Bears have a need with Lucas Patrick set to enter free agency and the financial flexibility to make Biadasz one of the game's highest paid centers, and that would be something that would shore up this team tremendously, something that was needing to be done. This creates a great opportunity for this team. By the way, I am going to be looking for mods for the channel, so if you want to be a mod, let me know, because you know, um, some people are the worst. But the Bears can get younger, improve the talent overall. And remember, Lucas Patrick, he's just not cutting it. He's not doing it. There's a problem with the snaps. There's a problem with Lucas Patrick, Dan Feeney, Cody Whitehair. The center position is in a state of virtual collapse with the Chicago Bears. This would be a fantastic and a great move. So hoping to see this. Now, I was pointing at Connor Williams as the choice, but anybody who's a Pro Bowler that can play the center position is going to be all right with me. So shout out to everybody looking for that. Now on to the draft. For the draft, here's a dream scenario that somebody came up with. The NFL draft scenario for the Chicago Bears if they keep Justin Fields. This is a decent idea. And what it says is if the Chicago Bears decide to keep Justin Fields, it appears it would make most of the locker room happy. Multiple teammates have spoken up defending Fields. Thankfully, it does appear that the chance of polls completely screwing the situation up are slim. Trading Fields and drafting Caleb Williams, the draft prospect everybody has been googly-eyed over, would make a large portion of the fan base happy. It would be 20%. Again, the numbers are still the numbers. So when you look at this, I don't think so. In the alternative, keeping Justin Fields and trading the first overall pick for even a bigger haul than the previous season from the Panthers would bring joy to a majority of the rest of the fan base. For the sake of the hypothetical situation, let's look at what a perfect dream scenario would look like for the 2024 draft. I'm still working through the draft prospects. As always, I have been heavily focused on positions I feel are needs. And that would be the Chicago Bears trade with the Commanders. They receive the Commanders get the first overall pick, and the Bears get the second overall pick, the 40th, and the 25 and 26. And then that gets an opportunity for him to trade down. And then by trading down, you would then trade down again. The Bears would move down and get the Patriots. Give the Patriots a chance to leg up there, and they would take the third overall pick. And with that third overall pick, that's when you pick up Marvin Harrison Jr. With the third overall pick. Then it looks like, Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are not done. You can choose the path from here out to your dream scenario. But in this dream, Poles drafts Brock Bowers at the 9 position. Now, the question would be, is Brock Bowers available at that time? That's the question that you would ask yourself. And I don't know that he is available at the 9 position. So if he's not available, then it should be noted that Malik Neighbors goes a little bit earlier in some drafts, a little bit later in others. Malik Neighbors would be out there. Not exactly a tight end, doesn't solve the problem that you're looking to solve with Brock Bowers, but creates another receiver to complement Marvin Harrison and DJ Moore. Also, Roma Dunze would be out there. So when you have a 3 receiver set, then you're going to have a really, really good team out here. So, yeah. The weapons catching the football would become DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Cole Kmet, and then in this would be Brock Bowers. But if we're swapping out again, if we bring back Mercedes Lewis on a low preferable contract, and you turn to the wide receiver. So having Brock Bowers at that 9 position would be ideal. So that's the idea behind this draft choice right here. So let's let's see what happens. And we're going to go, by the way, Chris, we're going to go to advanced stats pretty soon, and we're going to be showing some of that kind of stuff so that people get an idea, because there are some people that they don't understand it. They don't get it. And that's okay, by the way. 80% of the fans want to see Justin Fields return. It's the 20% that cry the most that are like, we want Caleb Williams. We think that he would be so awesome. Or, whatever it is that they say. And I even had a guy in here the other day telling me that the Bears had one of the best offensive lines in football, and that it was so much better than the Green Bay Packers offensive line. Like, you can't make this shit up, guys. You can't make this shit up. We got Justin Gilstrap here with Bagent went 2-2. Yes, he did. He also had 5 interceptions, so he didn't provide himself as a better option to Justin Fields, despite that I thought early on that if Tyson Bagent came along, he might end up being the replacement of Justin Fields. And the reason that I do that is because, to clarify, I am a Chicago Bears fan. I'm not a Justin Fields fan. I'm not a Tyson Bagent fan. I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I want what's best for the Chicago Bears. What I believe is best for the Chicago Bears is moving on with Justin Fields. What I think is important is consistency and continuity in this team, and that the continuity that didn't work last year was not Justin Fields, or the parts that didn't work with Justin Fields was a lack of preparation by the coaching staff and a lack of adjustments in the coaching scheme to allow Justin Fields to do the things that made him successful. And yes, Justin was this is something very important here. Tyson Bagent processed the game quicker than Justin Fields, and with all of that quickness, still threw 5 interceptions and lost 2 games. So, but the other thing is, coming back out of that, is it not true, by the way, just to clarify, that Tyson Bagent went 2-2, but Justin Fields went 5-3 in those final. Once he came back from his injury, he went 5-3 in his final 8 games in which he played. So does that mean that he's the better option than Tyson Bagent? Because if you tell me he was 2-2, that's a 50-50 winning record. But if you tell me that that Justin Fields went 5-3, I will pass on the previous games, and I will say, because we're using just this little litmus test right here of this little section of gameplay here, that obviously Justin Fields is the better option. So, yes, you're right. There is a moment here where I think, and by the way, if you go back and look at this channel, I was a big supporter of Tyson Bagent, believing, in fact, that Tyson Bagent was a really good option. So, I continue to think that even if something catastrophic were to happen to Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, and we needed a serviceable backup to step in and become a leader on the team, I do think that person is Tyson Bagent. I think Tyson Bagent, coming from Division II to the NFL, is probably a step too far, that he needs more time to make a few screw ups and make some mistakes and learn the position a little bit better, because he watched a bunch of slower players. But, we'll see what happens. Fields is going to get us all fired. Well, taking Caleb Williams is going to get you all fired too. So if you think that that's the case, everybody on this team right now is on Kevin Warren's clock, from Ryan Poles to Matt Eberflus to Justin Fields, to every single person. So saying that, well, if I pick up a rookie, then that rookie, and if he's okay, and the team goes 8-9 or 9-8, then they're going to be much gooder, or whatever it is that you say in your brain. No, that will get you out of here, because that's not what this team is looking for. This team is now looking for 12-5, 13-4. It's looking for a playoff appearance. It's looking to perform like a team that has their shit together this year. There's no more waiting around for development. So you don't bring in a rookie quarterback waiting around for development. Now you could make an argument that you want to hold on to Justin Fields, let him start, 4 or 5 or 6 games, and then bring in Caleb Williams later on. Fine. I'm okay with that, but we're not talking about that right now. What we're talking about at this point is that would mean that Justin Fields would be starting. And if Justin Fields starts the season off and does a tremendous job, well, then Caleb Williams has no place. So you better be right when you make that decision. So there you are. A lot of the things that some people are saying, they don't make any sense because you're being told by somebody else. You're being told by somebody else that this is what should happen. This is what could happen. Everybody in Chicago, just like everywhere, by the way, looks at talking heads and they look at the Chicago Tribune or the whatever newspaper or ESPN, and they hear the person that says what they're already thinking, and then that turns into a fact in their brain. So that's fair enough. But and by the way, when I give you this, I'm giving you my opinions as well. But I'm also using all of the data that's available here to give you what my opinion is, so that my opinion, if nothing else, would at least be informed in some small way, just like anybody else would think. Except the difference between them and me is that I'm right. So let's continue to move on to the draft because we have another one here, the Marvin Harrison edition of the draft right here. Let's see. Isn't this the same team that just went almost a full calendar year without a win? Did I miss the championship window opening? Yes, you did. In fact, because then you missed out on the fact that the team went 7-5 in the last 12 games. So if you missed out on that, if you continue on that trend, then that puts you in the playoffs because then you've got a 10-win team, and 10-win teams tend to make the playoffs. So you would have made the playoffs if things were different. So yes, if you're not keeping up, the Bears are improving as we go along. So you know how when all of the games were lost in the first year of this team, or Matt Eberflus, if the games were all being lost because the team was being built, then the team is going to continue being built. And as the team builds, it gets better. And if the team gets better, there's more wins. So if you're not paying attention and you watch the 0-4 team that started the season and you take those out of the equation, then yeah, now all of a sudden you're seeing a team that's winning games. So yes, if you're not paying attention, you missed it. You should pay more attention because it's kind of silly when you're not looking at progress. And Larry gets 5 more minutes. All right. Now we're talking about the New England Patriots making a trade here for Caleb Williams, the Washington Commanders taking Drake May, and then we have the Chicago Bears who dropped to number 3. And by the way, this is the one that makes sense. There's hey, all right, let me break this down here. Got to make ridiculous excuses like Fields would have won all of these. Hey, man, it's my channel. I get to do that. You're the one that has to come cry here about, I don't like Justin Fields. I don't like him. So listen, it's okay if you don't like him, but it's you're losing. Anyway, so the trade, which the New England Patriots have to be the one that you trade with, because if you trade down to the Washington Commanders, which is what the previous guy said in that draft, it makes no sense because the Commanders already know, or have reason to know that if the Bears are going to take number 1, they're already going to take Caleb Williams. So the Washington Commanders could sit tight with Drake May. So there's no incentive there. But the incentive is for the New England Patriots to flip the Washington Commanders so that they could take Caleb Williams in this situation. So this looks like a better draft to me. We're taking Marvin Harrison with the 3rd. And then here's you see Malik Neighbors at the 4, Brock Bowers at the 5, Jaden Daniels at the 6, and then we come back down here and you get Dallas Turner as an edge rusher. I don't have a problem with this one either. There are some people who are saying that Luatu Latu is the guy to go to instead of Dallas Turner. I would actually prefer in this one Joe Alt right here. So I get the feeling here. I get the sense that yeah, this is this is an opportunity. And by the way, if you want to trigger people and you want to get people crying in a chat room, tell them you think Justin Fields is going to the Super Bowl, and then you can draw them like flies. So, but that's it for the draft. Like it looks like at this point, Ryan Poles, genius, Matt Eberflus, genius, might be relying on Justin Fields to take this team to the Super Bowl, a team that is capable now of the playoffs. And look, there's a whole bunch of people out here who are going to cry about it. 20% of the fan base, 20% of the fan base is going to sit here and cry about it because they're not smart. But the 80% who went to that final game, who chanted, "We want Fields, we want Fields," that want Justin Fields to remain as the quarterback, they understand, they see the product on the field. The majority of people are seeing what they're seeing. So, yeah, here we are. But in closing now, let's look at the players and inside Justin Fields 2023 stats, what the numbers tell us of the quarterback situation. So, actually, we want this one right here. Here's the advanced stats for Justin Fields. So, in the 2023 season, he had 5 games here. We got 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, 9 and 8 overall. And then by days of the week, this is 13 games total. So, Justin Fields ended up 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And I think that says a lot because no matter what, his completion rating, basically the same. Nothing really changed. Day of the week didn't really matter. Nothing really changed. Monday night games, he was 73% accurate. So hopefully we'll be playing a lot of Monday night games. However, here's what matters, right? On grass fields, not very good. Artificial surfaces, 71%. Home and away, much better at home than he was away. Going to have to win road games. But again, that comes down to coaching a lot of times and creating situations by which a player has an opportunity to perform. On the attempts 1 through 10 at the beginning of the game, in the this, by the way, this is where it gets very interesting. In the first 10 attempts for a game, Justin Fields has a 102 quarterback rating. This is a scripted series of plays that this is the smart plays. This is the 70.8% represents that whatever they're scripting and whatever they're calling out to start these games off, they're doing a great job of. And that was Luke Getsy, by the way. So if you're completing 70.8% of your passes on your scripted series, then if you have a coordinator who adjusts for the changing environment of the game and doesn't just stick with what's not working, then you look at this, and you see that that's a product of a team. That's a product of a situation in which you are not doing the right thing. You're not coaching for success. When you come down here, you look at on first downs, about a 60% completion, 58%. But on second down, 67% completion. And third down, 60% completion. So still looking like, now, by the way, the third down part right here, 8 and 5, you do have to address interceptions. You do have to coach down, not throwing the ball away or giving the ball away because it seems too obvious there. This right here, though, this is the telling tale of Justin Fields. A 112 passer rating in the first quarter of every game. When the scripted plays are out there and when you know exactly what you can do against this vanilla defense versus the offense, then he has a 112 passer rating. And then the second quarter, a 91.4 passer rating. 75% completion and 62% completion in the scripted portions of your game, or at least the ones where the teams have not had a chance to make adjustments to what the coaches are doing. And then when you get to the third and fourth quarter, where the defenses have now made their adjustments to what somebody is doing, then what you see is a much different scenario. But in the third quarter, even at 58.6%, Justin's not turning the ball over and maintains a quarterback rating of 90. Now you're in the fourth quarter which, by the way, there's nobody out here saying Luke Getsy's done a good job or even a reasonable job of calling the fourth quarter at any point in any season. And you see that suddenly the completion ratio is 51%. Coaching, you're not putting your players in a position to be successful. 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, because number one, your defense last year was the worst defense in the league. In the first 4 or 5 games of the season, I want to say all the way through 7 games, you were still giving up an average of close to 30 points a game. So you were playing from behind and you were having to go for it and you were calling bad plays. So, and we saw the product on the field. So you can look at it now and say, well, it's 3-6. So if we can eliminate the mistakes and we can clean up the fourth quarter and start playing some real ball in the fourth quarter, then does that change anything? More importantly, though, this is where things have to improve right here. Last 2 minutes of the half, Justin Fields, 46%, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. And in the fourth quarter, within 7 points, 46.9, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The question becomes, can you, number one, avoid that situation? And then number two, can you improve upon these numbers? And that's where Shane Waldron comes in. And dare I say, Shane Waldron will have his work cut out for him in trying to turn Justin Fields into a fourth quarter guy. Now, some people perform when they're under pressure. Some people collapse and they do not perform well under pressure. However, despite what many people might tell you, Justin Fields is not allowed to audible. Justin Fields was not allowed to call out his own plays. He went with the plays being called, and that was to the detriment because there are things on the field that perhaps he is seeing that Luke Getsy is not seeing and that he's calling against. And if that's the case, then, at some point, there has to be some trust being built up between those two parties. So if that is the case, then it should be reasonable to expect that this team would just improve by virtue of that, right? So I would venture to say that at this point, the Chicago Bears, Shane Waldron, they're going to keep Justin Fields. And this team is a Super Bowl contender for next year. And that's going to infuriate people who are not real fans of the Chicago Bears. That's going to make them really sad. And they're probably going to come into chats and cry and do stuff like that. And then when you say that, they're going to be like, what do you mean cry? I'm not crying, bro. You think you don't know what you're talking about, bro. Or something like that. So we're going to see that. You're going to see a lot of that because, again, we have a lot of crybabies. We have a lot of whiners that me no like you, Justin Fields. Me no think he good guy. Or whatever people say to themselves in their head. I'm sure they use big boy voices when they say it in their brains. But the important thing is Justin Fields is going to have to fix this fourth quarter, 53.4 quarterback rating. And if they can clean that up, then you are now looking at a quarterback with a rating of 112, 100 overall in the first half, 70.9 in the second half. You clean up those second half stats, you make the right adjustments, you turn this team into somebody who performs in the second half versus, and guys, look, it's just a game. Why does the production go down in the fourth quarter? Play calling. Duh. Like, do we not see that? Or have we never played football? I mean, I guess that would be the case. Have you never played football? Do you not understand how important play calling is in the fourth quarter? That you have to go with the plays that work. And if you're playing from behind and you're not playing to your team's strengths, what do you do there, right? If you have to pass the ball and your options are DJ Moore and then Darnell Mooney and Tyler Scott, know that you're probably going to lose. Especially if you're not calling plays that are going to scheme to get DJ Moore open 24/7. And then when you see the plays where they actually did that, you see that the Bears were moving the ball, but you can only do it so much before you start getting double teamed. You have to have other options. So if your other option is Darnell Mooney or Tyler Scott, you're not going to win. Maybe you can use Cole Kmet as your outlet, but you're limited in your options because you're limited by your players. And when you're limited by your players, you are limited in your play calling. And even if you're not and you feel that you are still limiting yourself by your play calling. So if that is the case, then you have to improve that. And I think that Shane Waldron coming in is the guy to improve all of that. So if that's the case, then I think the future is very bright. Now, again, I'm going to close this out with saying I'm not a Justin Williams fan. I don't care if Justin Williams is here or Justin Fields is here or not. I care if the Chicago Bears are winning games. And I think that Justin Fields is going to give a better option than a rookie quarterback in a Lincoln Riley system um, at winning now. And I think that the team of Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are going to be incentivized to hold on to Justin Fields because Justin Fields actually represents their best shot of significant improvement. And if they decide to move off of Justin Fields after next year, then between Eric Malik, I want to say, and Shedeur Sanders, there are plenty of options in the first round of the draft next year, and plenty of draft picks that Ryan Poles has probably stored up that would get them within sniffing distance of a change at quarterback if it were needed. And I don't think that even if you do need it, I don't think long term. Look, Baker Mayfield is a journeyman for a reason. He threw the interception at the end for a reason. Lincoln Riley system. Kyler Murray, who averaged 140 yards throwing when he came back from injury, multiple interceptions, didn't play very good down the stretch. Did have one good game, I think, in there, but generally speaking, again, 100, maybe 160 yards passing in the end of the season. That's Lincoln Riley right there. That's the 6'1" quarterback guy that everybody thinks is Caleb Williams is. Look, they thought the same thing about a lot of different people, and they're not right about them. So Shedeur Sanders represents an option. Malik also represents an option next year. Arch Manning's going to be out there at some point. So there are plenty of different options at quarterback if this doesn't work out. So the thing is, Justin Fields gives a team that's under the gun and under pressure the best opportunity to win. And the real pros, the smart people, not the dummies who sit in chat and cry about players, right? The smart people all want Justin Fields to come back. The players who play the game, the athletes that see it on the field, the people that have an understanding of the mechanics of the system, they all want to see Justin Fields return. It's just the donkeys who don't know anything about football that are like, hey, move on. We got to go get somebody else or whatever. Anyway, that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Justin Fields is going to take the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl. By the way, bookmark this video. Make sure that you watch it. If you don't like it, by the way, if you hate Justin Fields, if everything about Justin Fields you just despise, you don't like it, and there's something about him, his headband, you don't like his headband, or you don't like that his hair is nice. If there's something about him, if it's being 6'2", just infuriates you, that he runs fast, that infuriates. Bookmark this video and watch it every day with hate in your heart, because guess what? At the end of next year, when you go back to this video and you watch it, then you remember I was talking to you. Talk to you again very, very soon, guys. You have a good day.